my first attempt at a full Ironman and a DNF, which is never fun. It's always, a bit of a bitter pill to swallow to DNF, especially in like a full distance race where the prep for it is long and difficult, and you don't target that many full distances in a season. This is obviously my first one, and so to DNF is like, it's really gutting. And I went through a lot of emotions early on this week, and this is why I've delayed this video, is to kind of give myself this time to go through these emotions, figure out what makes sense in my head, and then make this video for you guys. And I'm kind of coming through the back end of it. I'm still I'm still pissed off. I'm still annoyed. I'm still a bit like lacking motivation a little bit to get back into training, stuff like that. But ultimately, I've gone through the bad phase, I guess you'd say. Coming off of the DNF, I felt terrible. I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I felt like a loser. Did not feel good. And then quickly that turned to anger. I got really, really angry at myself, and I've managed to pick myself up again these last few days and kind of start ticking things over again a little bit, but it's definitely not back to where it needs to be. But yeah, we run through the race, and I'll just tell you guys, what's happened basically, because a lot of people have been messaging me, checking in, and I really do appreciate it. And actually, before I talk about what happened and how the race went, I just want to say so much thanks to everyone out there who supported. Tembe was the best spectator event I've ever been to. It was incredible. The amount of people that came up to me, chatted with me, that were supporting me even when I wasn't doing very well. I just appreciate it so, so much. So all of you guys out there, this is part of the reason why I felt so bad after the DNF, is because I felt like I let so many people down. I didn't just have, my family here, my mum, my dad, my brother, his girlfriend came, Lydia, her parents came. That was a lot of close family, but then I've also got a lot of people who watch this channel who were out there supporting me as well. And I just felt like I let a lot of people down, which I was like, that was the main emotion that I had. And I'm kind of coming to terms with that and moving through those emotions, like I mentioned. But I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's messaged me on social media, and who was out there supporting in person. I appreciate it so, so much, and you guys really make this worthwhile, so I really appreciate it. But yeah, leading up to the event, I felt pretty good actually, the week leading up to the event. And then pretty much the morning of the event, I felt terrible. So I woke up and immediately had stomach problems. I won't go into too much detail, but I even said to my dad, who was in the kitchen with me when I was getting breakfast at 4 a.m. I even said to him, I'm not feeling great. I've never felt like this before a race. I don't know what's going to happen. And I visited the toilet 3 times before we even left the house, which was very, that's not normal at all. I had some Imodium immediately, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go with the flow, see what happens. It's a long day, so things could ease off, and as long as it eases off before the run, I should be all right. So I went forward as the race was just going ahead with the race, because everyone was there supporting me. I got myself into that position, I needed to give it a go, didn't I? So go through to transition, still not feeling great. Go to the Portaloo, again, not brilliant. Have some more Imodium, and then make my way down to the beach. I didn't actually appreciate how long it took to get from transition to the beach. I nearly missed the pro warm-up because the zigzags were just pretty much chock-a-block. So I nearly missed the warm-up, so that was funny. But yeah, managed to get in. And damn, that sea was some of the choppiest sea I've ever been in. I'm very lucky to live obviously very close to the beach here down in Devon, and so I've managed to get some good practice in choppy water. But I can safely say that was probably the choppiest water I've ever swam in. So I've got to say hats off to anyone who even just got in and gave it a go, because that was some scary conditions out there. But anyway, yeah, standing on the start line, actually you can see from this photo, look how bloated my stomach is. You know, I'm standing next to Andy and I look like I've got a bloody beer gut on me. So yeah, I just felt, yeah, really bloated and just nasty and not my normal self, which was not that great. But anyway, started the swim and I thought, you know what, I reckon I can stay with Andy for a little bit here. And that lasted all of about 20 seconds, so that was good. I feel like if it was flat, I'd probably... This might be a bit like, I don't know, a bit ambitious of me to say, but I reckon I could have stayed with Andy a little bit longer. If it was flat conditions, I reckon I'd have a bit of a chance of like having that gap a little bit less to him. But you live and learn, you never know what would have happened. But anyway, yeah, it was crazy choppy, so we went off and Andy broke away very quickly, and then I was kind of just in no man's land really. Had Andy out in front, had a group behind me, didn't know how far behind they were. Finished the first lap, got out and looked behind and had a decent gap on the guys behind, but also there was a decent gap between me and Andy. And then after the second lap, the second lap was quite difficult, let's say, to navigate, because all you can just see is bobbing heads of the age groupers. And to try and sight for a boy is very difficult when you've got that. And I do apologise to a lot of age groupers who I may have swam into accidentally due to the waves and just kind of, yeah, accidentally not necessarily looking where I'm going. Or yeah, so I do apologise. If you got swam into by a pro, could have been me, and I do apologise for that. But anyway, yeah, came out of the second lap, and I believe I was three or 4 minutes down on Andy, which is kind of to be expected. Like he's probably the best swimmer in triathlon. So the fact that I was within 4 minutes of him, I'm actually like, I'm okay with that. And then there was a gap. I can't remember the gap to the guys behind me. So I came out in 48 minutes. Can't remember exactly. In those conditions, that's a very good time. So I do think we definitely had some favourable currents going on, or the tide was helping us or something, because that's pretty quick when the current, like when the conditions weren't great. But anyway, made my way up the zigzags. I took my wetsuit completely off, which may or may not have been a good idea. I don't really know. Let me know what you did in the comment section below if you were racing. I didn't know whether to put it half down, but then you run to transition, it's going to be all dry, and then taking it off is going to be difficult. But then I took it all off and hung it over my shoulder. Anyway, I made my way to transition, and that kilometre with everyone cheering was like, it was electrifying. It was insane. Like the streets were just packed full of people cheering for you, which was amazing. Stomach did not feel brilliant at this point, especially when I ran past the fire station and they were cooking bacon rolls. I was like, oh God, no, can't be dealing with this. Into transition, out and onto the bike. And yeah, I just kind of like settled down. With this being my first Ironman, I didn't necessarily know what kind of... I had an idea of what kind of power I wanted to hold, but I didn't necessarily know how it was going to go. So I wanted to be a little bit more reserved than I normally would be if it was a half Ironman that I've got a little bit more experience with. So settled in. And immediately I found it quite difficult to get nutrition down, just because my stomach was so bloated already and just felt quite sick already, probably from swallowing quite a lot of salt water in the swim, and also apparently there may have been a sewage spill a few days prior. So I've heard a lot of people actually have had stomach issues because of this, but I don't think my stomach issue is because of that, because I had, my stomach was hurting the morning of the race, so even before I got in the water. So it's something else that's caused that stomach bug. Anyway, yeah, riding along, and like 15 minutes into the ride, or when we hit the first climb, I just hear this barking coming from behind me. I was like, oh, bloody hell, that's Joe Skipper, isn't it? Like, what's he doing? I did actually laugh quite a lot when he came barking past me. Like, it was actually quite funny. But yeah, I was surprised that he closed the gap that quickly. I would have thought I'd had a little bit more time on him. So he must have had a really, really good swim. Or, I mean, yeah, I was probably riding not that quickly, and he's one of the best athletes in the world. So, I mean, it wouldn't have taken him that long anyway. But yeah, he came past and he shouted, "Harry, come with me. You'll get on the podium if you come with me." And like my immediate kind of response was, no, I'm already pretty tired. No. And then I thought, actually, you know what? I'll stay with him for a few minutes. I'll see what this Joe Skipper lad's all about. But yeah, he was on a mission, and I think if I was maybe a little bit more of an experienced Ironman athlete, if I'd done a few more races, then I probably would have gone with him, and I probably would have known that he wants to get to the front and then maybe ease off a little bit. Knowing Joe, he probably wouldn't have done. He probably would have just kept on going hard as hell. But if I was more experienced at this distance, I probably would have gone with him for a bit longer. But not knowing what was coming up, I just had to be realistic, and I was like, you know what, I've just got to let him go. Like, and also, you know, he's one of the best athletes in the world right now. Like, I would put money on him actually winning the world champs. So I think he was a bit disappointed that I didn't come with him, but also at the same time, I was like, mate, I'm not on your level. I can't do this. So yeah, that was disappointing to see him go, but I just had to be sensible. And then some other guys came through, some French guy who I'm not too sure, he was riding pretty well. And then yeah, we started hitting the hills. Boris Stein came through, he was riding like an absolute weapon. And just my stomach gradually got worse, and it got to the point maybe like, you know, 100k in, I said to myself, you know, at the next aid station I'll stop at a Portaloo, because I really needed to go. But then every Portaloo I was like, no, I'll go to the next one, and gradually that got me through the bike, and I didn't stop. But the issue was, because I was so bloated on the bike, I couldn't sit in my position properly, so I couldn't get aerodynamic. So that sucked. I couldn't take on as much nutrition as I wanted, so that sucked. So I ended up really like kind of blowing up towards the end of the bike. I targeted 105 grams of carbs an hour on the bike. Unfortunately, really, I was only able to stomach like 70, if that. So really not great. Ended up losing a lot of power towards the end of the bike. And actually, my back really started screaming at me. Sort of like 100 miles in, I actually got to the point where my back was hurting so much, like it was affecting my pedal stroke. And I literally, max watts I had was like 140 watts. Like, I was really struggling. So then I had to pull over to the side of the road, literally like 100 miles into the ride, stretch my back off for a few minutes, and then get back on and ride off. And that helped a little bit, but then it came back. So I really need to focus on getting that back in shape, because it was really good towards the beginning of this season, and it's gradually got worse, which is not brilliant, especially these longer distance events. So overall, normalised power on the bike was 278. I would have liked to have had it a bit higher. For the first hour and a half, I think it was like 291, 292, which is kind of like the level that I'd expect to sort of hold, I guess. But yeah, my back and my stomach and all of that stuff wasn't necessarily going that well. So yeah, I was in a bad mood. I was in a very bad mood on the bike. And I was just like, this sucks. But I knew I was still in, I think I rolled into T2 in 6th position. So I was like, if my stomach feels okay, or if I can just run with it, then I could run into the top 5. Like, I know I've got a good run on me. I don't know if I've got a good marathon run after an Ironman though. So it was all a bit unknown. Anyway, got into T2, spent a few minutes in a Portaloo. Some other lads caught me up, so I ended up running out of T2 in like 8th. And pretty much immediately, I realised it wasn't going to be good. My stomach was screaming at me. My pace was nowhere. I couldn't get any nutrition down because my stomach hurt so much. I visited every single Portaloo I could see. And I did one lap of kind of walk jogging. And I was like, you know what, this sucks. I'm not in a place that I want to be in. And this is just horrible. And so I stopped near my family. And I was like, you know, what am I going to do? And they basically were just like, you know, super, like motivating. They were just like, just keep going, just keep moving. As long as you keep moving, it's fine, even if you have to walk. And I was like, you know what, they're right. Like, I'm out here, putting myself out here, and I want to do it for not only myself, but I want to do it for you guys watching this. I want to do it for my family who showed up to watch me bloody do this event. I was like, you know what, they deserve this. and I need to keep moving regardless. And I was fully committed to walking the whole marathon. I was like, I'm just gonna, if I need to walk, I will walk. And I was fully committed to walking for 5-6 hours. And I was like, it's gonna happen because I need to do it for, like I said, myself, for you, for my family, and everyone here supporting me. So I was committed to that. And actually, bless her, Lydia started walking next to me, and she was like, if you want to walk the whole thing, I'll walk it with you, which was pretty amazing. So yeah, we did another lap. Gradually, my stomach got worse and worse, had to take a few breaks. And then it started raining really bad. Now, if I was running, that would have been perfect conditions for me because I love running in the rain. I operate at quite high temperature, so actually having some rain really cools me down, makes me more efficient. However, I was walking and I got absolutely freezing. I was so cold, and got back to where my mum and dad were, and they pretty much like dragged me off the road, and they said, no, we're done, we're finishing, because I was shaking, my lips were going blue, I couldn't really think straight, and I was so gutted because I was like, I feel like I needed to keep going, but I was like, I just can't, my body's like giving up on me. I'm shivering, I'm shaking, my stomach is in agony. I'm not thinking straight, like it was horrible. So anyway, had to give up at maybe like 18k into the run. I won't call it a run because it wasn't. It was embarrassing. And that was a cold walk back to the car, and took me a while to kind of get warm again and get right. And actually, to be honest with you, so the race obviously on Sunday, my stomach's still not feeling great. Like, I've had literally a whole week now of, I haven't ran this whole week because I felt pretty rubbish. I've managed to get into the pool a bit, managed to get on the bike a bit, but my stomach's still not feeling good. And that's like the long-term effect of that, of putting myself in such a box, of just like, mentally not trying to think about it and persevere and push through. Like, you have this knock-on effect, and that's what this has had. And I'm still not feeling brilliant from it, which is like, it just sucks. So DNF, first Ironman. It's really annoying because I feel like if I put together the race that I know I'm capable of, and this is why I'm annoyed now. I'm annoyed because I wasn't able to show the level that I'm at. I wasn't able to show the fitness that I've got behind me. I feel like I'm in some of the best shape I've ever been in, or I am in the best shape that I've ever been in, and I just wanted to prove that, and I wanted to showcase what that is. And I genuinely feel like if I had a good day, like if I had a day that I know I'm capable of, I came out the swim second. On the bike, I lost a few positions, but I would put that down to kind of like not feeling great, back, stomach issues. If those were clear and I was able to put out a performance that I wanted, I would have come off the bike, hopefully, within the top 5, definitely. And then if I had the run that I think I'm pretty sure I'm capable of, then, who knows what could have happened. But I reckon I definitely could have finished in the top 5, which is really gutting, because that would have been a great result for me and a great way for me to show that actually the work that I'm doing is progressing me in the right direction. And it just didn't happen. So really gutting, but just need to move on from it. It's difficult when you're kind of like newish. I say newish. Definitely new in the pro kind of field. You want to keep progressing and keep putting out these results, because these results mean that you climb the ranks. You get more access to prize money, which pays for all these trips because they cost so much money. And also access and chance to get sponsorship, which helps again progression with products and finances and all this stuff. So to have a result like this, it was a massive kick in the teeth. And I've got no one else. I've got no one to blame for it. That's not what I'm doing here. It's just it just sucks. It just really does suck. So what happened? Like, why did this happen? You might be asking me. So basically, I think I controlled too much leading up to the race, and that ultimately made me, I just shot myself in the foot, basically. So normally leading up to a 70.3, I'll try and reduce fiber leading up to the race. I'll reduce my caffeine intake, all of this stuff to reduce the GI issues that I might feel on race day. And basically for this race, I was like, I'm just going to control it even more, which probably was not the best idea. And so I pretty much had a whole week of like really reduced fibre, which actually probably wasn't the best idea because, so I've been told basically that it means that stuff will sit in your stomach and then it will cause like a stomach bug. Now that may be part of the problem. Also, the part of the problem was the night before, so we had pizzas and like garlic bread and stuff like that. The next day, my brother also had stomach problems as well, so it could have been that, could have been linked to that. And also, I'm feeling like I kind of want to get tested for like intolerances, like gluten intolerance, for example, because I do sometimes occasionally get these stomach pains, and it's very similar. It's just on Sunday I had a very extreme version of it, and I tried to push through it, which if I have it in training, I stop because I know how bad it can get. And so I'm wondering if I've got some sort of intolerance, some gluten intolerance, so I need to get that checked out. So it could be a whole range of different things, but they're all going to be linked together in some way. So I'm trying to make sense of it these next few days and actually come up with a plan to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And I guess this is a positive from this race, is that I've experienced that, and now I know that I never want to be in that position again. And I'm going to do my absolute best to try and figure out what went wrong so I never have to do that again. And I guess this is what it's all about. It's a learning experience, isn't it? It sucks, but it is what it is. And I just got to say a massive hats off to everyone out there who raced. Massive hats off to Joe Skipper, who came back from, like a 20-minute mechanical. That guy's just on another level. It's insane. But everyone else who raced, Andy Horsfield Turner, I've got to give a big shout out to him because he had a great race and a well-deserved position at the end. Finn Arens as well, great race from him, and so many others, and everyone racing in the age group field as well. It looked like everyone had such a good day, and if you didn't have a good day, there's always next year, and that's what I'm thinking about. So yeah, I mean, what's next for me? I don't really know, and I think, I do have an idea. And that's what's going to be my next video, kind of what's next for the rest of this season, because we're not quite done yet. I can't finish the season on a downer like this. I need to finish on an upbeat note. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Hope you're all well. I hope you somewhat enjoyed that video, but it probably wasn't the most exciting video in the world. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.